Hello everyone, my name is Mike on a Bike and welcome back to another episode of Grid Legends. And today's episode features the topic, nonsensical decisions. And as I'm looking through the list of modified cars to use for this race, I made the first nonsensical decision of picking the Honda Civic. And why is that a nonsensical decision, Mike, you may ask? Well, it's the only front-wheel drive car in that list of vehicles, as 3 other ones were all-wheel drive and 1 was rear-wheel drive. But if anybody asks for my reasoning, I'll just say I just wanted the mileage. And looking at my tune, I went for a little bit of a long gear ratio simply because I wanted to get more traction out of corners. For anybody that knows front-wheel drive cars, they are absolutely notorious for understeering going around corners. I also wanted to move the brake bias slightly rearward as well just before the race started, just to give the car a little more oversteer going into corners. And in hindsight, I kind of regret not moving the slider one more notch, as that would help us rotate the car a lot more. Now, starting in 18th, we get arguably the slowest start off the line thanks to the nature of a front-wheel drive vehicle where all the weight is thrown to the back into turn 1 where nothing but chaos ensues as everybody forgets to brake and nobody wants to yield any space to anyone. Coming around turn 2, a Subaru decides to mount a counter-defensive operation against everybody trying to fight for 12th place, but we managed to make it through as a Skyline gracefully rejoins the track after an accident, and a Lancer and a Civic join the fight as well, but we managed to stay clean on the inside of the right hairpin as the Civic comes back at us along with a Lancer. And the Civic, just poking his nose on the right hand side there, gets ahead of us, but we get the switchback on our right hand corner as he's gone a little bit too deep, not utilizing those brakes well enough, and now we're side by side with another Lancer that squeezes us into the wall, causing us to spin out essentially and lose a couple of positions, but thankfully everybody fighting for positions directly behind us, also squabbling. And an RX-7 pulls slightly ahead of us, but he does a little bit of a drift and loses a bit of momentum into the fast left-hand corner. And now we are in the slipstream of a Nissan Skyline headed towards a mid-speed left-hand corner as he slides a little wide. And that gives him a terrible exit out of the corner and us the chance to catch up to the vehicles directly ahead of us. 2 Lancers just going at it. They both scrape the wall there on the right hand side, but one of them manages to stay side by side with us, firmly planting us into a wall as we hit the rewind button just to rejoin on his tail as he goes wide, losing traction mid-corner. And that gives us that position. And we are now going to go slightly defensive in hopes that the Lancer would have to go the long way around, but thankfully was unable to keep up through the corner. However, the Lancer makes up for lack of cornering speed with unbelievable acceleration as we go through a right-hand hairpin corner. We've got another Lancer directly ahead of us. And now heading down the start-finish straight just to enter lap 2, we've got our first left-hand corner, and it looks like the Lancer ahead of us seems to brake a little bit too much in the midway through that corner and just does not brake enough for the next right-hander. Now going into the left, he completely understeers into the wall as we make our way past as clean as we possibly can. No contact made there. And I'll be honest, coming through this slower section of the course, I was pretty nervous expecting that Lancer to come back at us, but it seems like it didn't happen, and we have a gaggle of vehicles in front of us now duking it out, which puts us in the possibility for a fight for 6th position. But judging by the raw acceleration of those 2 vehicles, it's going to be a very, very difficult fight. But then, Grid Legends, as always, will deliver the unexpectedly expected.
You can't park there, sir.
Subaru parked sideways in the middle of the track, which would probably make for a very thrilling movie. To be completely honest with you, it does sound kind of catchy. But 1 down and 1 to go, we've still got a Nissan Skyline to get ahead of, and mistakes happen as the Nissan completely forgets to brake and scrubs the wall as we look for a gap that no longer exists. And we're also absolutely no match for that Nissan Skyline's pure acceleration. We could see in our rear view mirror that the Subaru has slowly caught up to our tailpipe due to the fighting between the Skyline and I. Now, that Skyline loves to get sideways, it seems. He squeezes us into the inside of the corner and again to the right of the track, effectively allowing that Subaru to get right past us. And now they are side by side, going into a medium speed left-hand corner, and the Skyline having more track on the outside to effectively keep his momentum going, but the Subaru is quickly gaining on him as we go into a very slow right hairpin, and the Nissan completely forgets to use his brakes, effectively giving the Subaru a great run out of that corner, staying around the center. And now it's a battle of wits around the final lap as the Subaru grazes that wall. But due to either a better tune or possibly better upgrades, the Subaru manages to get away for a short period of time as we catch back up around the S section. And due to the Skyline not being too far behind, I didn't want to fight the Subaru in case it slowed us both down as we head into a very tight hairpin and we make contact with the Subaru just ahead of us, going a little bit too slow, and his acceleration advantage keeps him just in front of us enough as I slightly outbrake myself. And he forces us narrow into the corner to make sure that we lose as much momentum as possible. And now onto the back straight, trying to stick to his slipstream to gain as much as we can into this right hand corner. He slides a little bit and loses a little bit of precious momentum. Now trying to apply as much pressure as we possibly can, the Subaru makes a tiny mistake, collides into the wall due to possibly looking back as he's frantically swerving left and right to keep us behind him, but we are now side by side and it's a drag race into the mid-speed left-hand corner as he turns in on us a little bit too early and we both collide with the wall, and the Subaru uses the rewind button, attacking us once again, trying to go for a gap that doesn't exist, and that costs them quite a bit of acceleration as we go into another mid-speed left-hand corner and the Subaru goes into the wall, possibly due to lack of braking, and has fallen to the clutches of the Nissan Skyline that we were battling with earlier. And I shift up a little bit too early after suffering a little bit of wheel spin going around that last corner. But looking at the top left-hand corner of the screen, we can see we've got about a 1.5 second gap to the vehicle behind, which is just enough breathing room to say that we may actually comfortably finish in 6th position. As I completely outbrake myself and do not press the brakes enough in a straight line, causing me to go wider on that last corner, and that's P6 for us. And I could honestly say this was probably the best result I think I've ever had, given the deficit between performance of mine and the other vehicles. And looking at the timing sheet, there was one other Honda on the track with us that was within the top 5 in 4th position, and his lap time was about just under 2 seconds faster than ours on the fastest lap, which is not bad considering we had to fight every lap. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like and leave a sub. Keep that rubber side down.